Ask Media One to do short introduction and then we'll go to the introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. For members of the fourth district, we are used to seeing superintendents and the content. Officially, we have to tell you that it's being deployed. Policing, we always deploy or you transfer them so that they export knowledge to where they are going, and then they go there and acquire fresh knowledge about policing. But the whole thing about policing, you have to become wholesome. You might become LC one day, traffic issues might come, criminal investigation issues might come, and so on and so forth. And so if you do not have the basics along the line, then you become ineffective. So this is why they normally move you from point A to point B, so that at the end of the day you acquire some skills and some policing knowledge. So he's gone, and then in his place we have ASP Mohammed Bobson Senu. He's now the new media too. He was the media officer for the Southern region. These are your guys. ASP Mohammed Bobson Senu. And then we created a new office, otherwise known as Media Ops. In other words, it's going to be the operational man, just like we have Ops officer in the divisions. We are now also going to have Ops officer. So the Media Ops is a man who has been reporting from McKinney. You have been seeing him reporting from McKinney. Abdulrahman Sanko, Chief Inspector of Police. Abdulrahman, these are your guys.
How are you? I'm fine.
And of course, we are ACP Gama Kamara, and then the chairperson, as always, is the Director of Operations, AIG, Amadou Mana. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Can you introduce those in the provinces? I think we don't need to leave them out.
Do you have anybody there from the south? The southern region? They are still working on getting somebody to.
I'm seeing two people.
Eastern region? Thank you. Northeast? Northwest? Paul, come up.
Not to follow.
I know.
Okay.
Will you increase the voice now?
I'm here with my Deputy Regional Crime Officer, DSP Lamin Kamara.
Thank you. Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again after a whole week. And I think we have very new developments within the policing landscape. And I know all of us here know of what's happened on Monday. But it did not come as a surprise. I only want to give you a short background to what happened prior to what actually now came into fruition on Monday. Before Friday, I really don't know the exact date. We received a request to protest from COOP. Is it COOP? Yes, I think that's a consortium of progressive political parties. You know, I was tasked to deal with that issue. I've been the operations, the AIG in charge of operations, and I had to invite all the players that were involved in the preparation for the demonstration on Monday. And I vividly remembered seeing three ladies. Their names I cannot recall. There's one, Madam Bambura, and there was Karamo Kaba, Mr. Bright, Dennis Bright, Dr. Dennis Bright, and some other people from other political parties. I did not take their names. And all of them came into the office, to my office. I had discussion with them on the records. I hope I would have looked for those records to bring for your view. And before we conclude the press conference, I'll make sure I bring all of those documents for you, at least for you to see. We had a very long discussion on whether to approve or not to approve the demonstration. Little did we know that the preparation had already gone so far, because what we knew initially, because there were several queues in the country at all filling stations, and we thought demonstration at that particular point will not be very good because there are people who will hijack it. Initially, it was not very clear on what the demonstrators wanted, especially the so-called potential demonstrators. Mr. Bright was the chair of his other colleagues that came into the office. And then we later on had to meet with the Inspector General of Police, and looking at all sides of the coin, looking at the queues, looking at what the country was facing at that particular point. And by then, we had almost got the new price that now came out almost, I think, later on in that day. And just think, what will happen if a demonstration could have been approved? A lot of people would have made use of it, they will capture it, and they would have thrown those good intentions, probably that Dr. Dennis Bright and others had for requesting for a demonstration, a permit for demonstration. The IG had to tell Mr. Bright and his colleagues that we would allow their demonstration provided the queues come down, and that the queues come down, and probably we had enough fuel in the country, and that will have at least reduced the animosity that could have been existing among people. So we asked them, and I think we had a very good discussion, and everybody left peacefully with the intention that nothing will happen. Unfortunately, on Saturday, to my dismay, I was called and informed that if I can go through my WhatsApp, I will see a lot more things. A lot of people sent something. And then I went through and saw threats that all, and I quote this person, I don't know his name or where he was coming from. Until I get guys, then driver, then keke, then they call it Okada. Until I get guys, we go born on putting in south. Any policeman come whether we go follow them. We go kill the raw. Those are the exact words of that person. And it went viral all across this country. If it were you, would you approve that demonstration? And this was coming from several others. We now saw on the Facebook page of Madam Cole, what's Cole? Femi Claudius Cole, preparing placards and rehearsing songs, whatever song of negative songs, derogatory songs against governments, etc., etc. We had them play, it's still on Facebook. You can replay them if you want to. And we realized that allowing such thing at this particular time of in this country would have created a lot more problem. I was going through my WhatsApp last night, and I saw the enormous power given to the British police to arrest, detain, charge, and all protesters to court. And this is not strange. We are seeing what is happening in Pakistan, in Sri Lanka, and several areas of this in this world. This is not something that is akin to Sierra Leone alone. It is in every part of the world. So on Sunday, we had so many more very frightening videos and audios going around the social media. And you saw the press brief on Mr. Brahma Kamara. I had to go to the radio. In fact, the whole of Monday, I could remember Sunday and Monday, he was in the radio. I pitied him actually. He spent his whole weekend, not for himself, but in the service of Sierra Leoneans, at least to have a very peaceful country. On Monday, I left home at 5 o'clock to ensure that I would be here and see what was happening. I decided to just go around, and when I reached the UE building, I was called that, hey, and this was a civilian. He said, we don't see people in Ross Road, and they call them by Atuga, and then at Kisu Road. Before I could reach Lumley police station, we heard that others had come out at Black Hall Road from Moyiba direction. And I like one police officer. I think it's Kamara, the one with the big stomach. Very interested. He said, "Una wait. Una fala mi log na police station log give una paper for process." And they went quietly to the station. I saw the video. It was in my phone. I said, I like this type of men that can use their head. Instead of fighting in the streets, they went quietly with the hope that they are going to be given papers to process, And that is a discretion people use in the police. That is sometimes very good. We had no intention of incarcerating people. If we didn't, my brother, that day could have been a very bad day for this country. We envisaged very bad things, and the police, with our little logistics, would have been overwhelmed, and we did not want people to be killed. And I think acting in very good faith, in tandem with the law of this country, to ensure that the people of Sierra Leone are protected, a wider group of this country. Not everybody wanted to process. Not everybody wanted to come out in their numbers. People wanted, but now we have to disadvantage even the children going to school. Nobody went to school. I only saw in the West a few schools. People went to school in the West, but in the East, no. Nobody. People became afraid so that nobody will be hurt, their children will not be hurt. So this is why we are always tell people it is good for permission to be granted to people. I could remember the IG giving an option. If you want to process, can we choose any field? You can even choose Atuga or whatever field, parade. We'll take the police there. You go and show all your placards, show all your documents, whatever you want to present to the world. You can do it there. We'll provide you security. But what is really good about processing in the street of Freetown? I think all what is important at this stage is for people to display their messages, show their placards so that the world will see or the government will know what is disturbing people. They say no, they will want to process right from, how do I call this place? Parliament. From Parliament to Vice President's office, through Gloucester Street, through Shakastini Street, and then down to Uton Road Junction, and then they will find somewhere to disperse. So no, this is dangerous at this time. But Now, just imagine the route that was proposed by the protesters is what I've told you about. Why do people have to come out from 91? People have to come out 91, Masimbi, Potloko, Lungi, and Freetown. And McKinney, yes, but McKinney was very short-lived. I didn't want to, because it even happened earlier, the day earlier, to the D-Day in Freetown. You know, Masimbi does the, how do I call it, does the demonstration talk about blocking roads? Did it tell us about pelting stones at people? No. The intention was to walk from State House, from Parliament, through the other streets, come through Gloucester Street, Shakaspini Street. Now we started seeing people coming out from Moyiba, from the other sides. In fact, when I reached Allentown on that morning, I saw people, I think they were packing things in the street, some tires. Unfortunately, since there are so many police people coming from that area, they just abandoned everything and went away. So you see different intentions by different people. The protesters had their own genuine intentions, but then other people had their own intentions, because people going to block Masimbi Road for people not to go to Kono. Blocking people, what would that bring if not increasing the hardship on people in this country? Prevented, in fact, the government bus was sent back. We are happy it was not destroyed. It had to be sent back. It came back and stopped somewhere in Makali and others before it actually went. So, as I'm saying, if you can, I was looking for the names of some of those people that came on that day to meet, the COP members. This is Consortium of Progressive Political Parties members. COP. COPPP. Mosire A. Bangura, National Secretary. UP. What is UP? United Party, I think. Unity Party. Claude School, eh? Okay. Bami Thomas, National Secretary General. ADP. Jibril Tula, Chairman, CDP. Tambasandi, C4C Party. Tony B. H. Songa, National Chairman, PMDC. Dennis Bright, NGC. Susan Williams, NDP. Isata Isidora Bangura, Secretary General, PMDC. Karamo Kaba, APC. These were the people that came to seek permission from the IGP for them to process on the routes that I earlier on mentioned. And they gave their telephone numbers because it was a very long deliberation. So if we had given an official clearance to our people to process on that day, just remember the route given by the protesters. What would have happened in the entire town? We now saw people right from Makali coming out. I think that was different from whatever people intended doing. And this is just the background to the entire process. And we held those people, got statements from them. But through the magnanimity of the police, looking at the law and looking at people in this country, I think we thought, and these were all first offenders. First offenders. So this morning, the IGP and senior members of his management, including myself, the DIG, and others, went to the CID, and we had some people from here who were there as well. and we addressed them. The IGP addressed them. DIG did, I did, the Director of Crime Services did, and we actually had to release them, warn them that in the future, this is a country of law. Everything is guided by the laws of this country. This is why we have some lawlessness. This is why people sit anywhere and make and trade because of the lawlessness. Where you want to pull and say, "We go get." When me, we can't be in a Shaka Saving Street. If not that, because if we are not guided, we can do anything. I take me back, it can put on before police headquarters because I didn't miss they eat. It's outside the person they eat. Yeah, I didn't miss they eat. So we don't do that. Let us follow the laws of this country. People remain to be very, very lawless. They would want to do what they think is good for them. I was going to Adonkea the other day at the far end, very pathetic. Look the wood. And so people in the car and big Muslim. You know? If even you are sleeping, how will you sleep in that particular house? If Motoka pass, you ask the court. You know? And some of these things, they take them turn to carrots. Where book I say don't broke people loose. So all I'm saying is that the country is a country of law. Thank God, a lot of our policemen are now becoming lawyers. In the next 5 years, we'll have over 200 lawyers, sincerely. And if we do not implement the laws, I assure you people will be living in a dog-eat-dog world. Not only those that are strong, that should be able to survive, all those of us that are weak will suffer. Now, wildlife will go there. You know, this is what we should be sending out to our people. And after that, all what we're doing is we'll go to the minutes. I really wanted to give you a detailed information on what the police did. I've told you about the July 4th unlawful demonstration, the police response, and then I will come to the press release. We had to make a press release today again. The camera is having a lot of problems these days. You know, we had to prepare another press release regarding the release of those that were in custody. You know, as we always mention to people, we are a police officers, a police entity, police institution that is based on human rights. Our activities are based on human rights. We are not like other police officers. Extrajudicial killings in this country, it's no longer. I was trained in Nigeria as a policeman for 2 years. If you see what goes on in those countries, you will see na heaven today. Go to Guinea, see what is happening there. You will say, hey, well, we better. You know, I was in Guinea some time ago, and in fact, I was in my uniform while you were people asking, see, which police is this? And they were very surprised whether this was police or navy or whatever. You know, and people were asked, somebody came and asked me, you know, because I saw one police, when they want to control traffic, that's how they take it. So, meaning nobody should pass here. You will not, if even you are a madman. You all are so easy that they can. You know, we don't want to be like, he said, no, I have the pass, my friend. He will come and challenge it. You know, if you get mine now, you can't give. And then call and clamp the motor back. There is an open smack again. You know, what's in our before do? Let me left all man. Let them do what they want to do. It cannot be. Otherwise, we will not have any police. Unfortunately, some of us were born in villages. We are up to today, we not get police. But we live in peace. We not get police. The closest police station is like 15 or 20 miles. Or more than that. You know, either you go to police in Gando or you go to Wima, or you go to Bungu. And these are all far distances from where we were born. But people live. The rule of law, the chief is the chief police officer. The chief. That is what we want to see obtaining in communities. So as today I will teach you, we have several, we talk about community policing. We have technological based policing. Policing that is based on technology, what we have started. And in some countries, when we were in Valencia doing some police training, that is the hub for UN, all UN technologies, all UN, call it computers, whatever technology, that's the base. Very big place. When people are demonstrating, you just take your app, put it on, and then you sit there and you will count them. If they put red dots now, everybody in here is showing the total people. That is what the Spanish police are now using. They will not come out. Sometimes like drones, no, they will just send like Connor, they say something, they say, okay, my drone is going. When the drone reaches there, you know how many people, their photos are all in your computer. You see, old man, the thing they mark there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They see the old photo. And when you take those photos, you can put them and should be able to identify them by name. Show you in a mall. And in England or in those countries, if your name is known, your address is known. Not an Sori Bagura 1, Sori Bagura 2, Sori Bagura 3, Sori Bagura 4, Sori Bagura 5, Sori Bagura. People they can't be able to identify you by even your eye. Facial expressions nowadays, facial recognition. In most offices, when you want to enter there, if it does not recognize your face, the open. You go to the pass and say, Padikam. Then you will come there. What is your problem? I say, no, I want to see Mr. Man. I say, okay, can we talk to him? So facial recognition, everybody in this office face would be put in the computer where you can open for you. The Nazi. I'm just telling you about technological learning. We have what they call human rights policing. Policing the people based on human rights concepts. And this is what we've started. And if you come to the CDI, you will know that the police is doing very well in that direction. People misbehave every now and then. They don't obey the law. Then they say becoming a policeman and they look this person and they beat her. You do it today, we'll bring you to CDID today, tomorrow we'll sack you. So you will now see that the police are now reforming because the pressure is heavy on them. And this is what we've exhibited to our people to ensure that they don't suffer so much. I will go through the press release, or no, I will not. I will ask the media one to read this press release, and I don't know if you will have copies to give them so that they will be able to take it out to the communities. But our magnanimity does not mean we other people strike back. Say we try to do am boy me wait you go me left free. I did do am back. It is not always the same that way. The law prescribes for something to happen. And if we go through this press release, you will know exactly what are the reasons behind the release and what do we expect of good citizens. This is what we inscribed in this press release. So I would rather ask that carefully, we all listen carefully. For those that can record, you can record it as well to add on to whatever you intend to keep. Thank you.
Say hello, police. Yes, The public will recall that during the weekend of 2nd and 3rd July 2022, social media was awash with video, audio, and text messages about planned demonstrations in Sierra Leone that were scheduled for Monday, 4th July 2022. It is no secret that some of the text, video, and audio messages were laced with threats of killing drivers, motorcyclists, police officers, and soldiers. Following from the above, the management of the Salon Police published a press release which clearly stated that no person or group was granted permission to embark on demonstrations on set dates. The press release further noted that organizing or participating in any unauthorized demonstration contravenes provisions of the Public Order Act of 1965. The Salon Police would like to inform the public that despite the press release from the police, some protesters were out in the street of Freetown, Lunge, Butloko, Magnetwan, and Magoroka on Monday, 4th July 2022, whereby police officers arrested a total number of 57 of those protesters. These arrests were contingent on the following: A. The protesters never had permission from the Inspector General of Police to demonstrate, and B. To preserve their safety, as it was likely that hoodlums and miscreants would have infiltrated and hijacked the demonstrations, given the fact that serious threats of killings of people were already distinctly made on social media in respect of sale. Furthermore, Madam Femi Claudius Cole and Dr. Dennis Bright were arrested and detained for incitement at the Criminal Investigations Department on July 3, 2022. Their arrest came against repeated cautions from the police to be law-abiding and to always maintain the peace at all times. For the records, during the midterm census, they were both publicly involved in inciting people not to participate in the process for which they were invited to the CID for interrogation. They were later cautioned and released. On another occasion, Dr. Dennis Bright was invited to the CID where he was interrogated, cautioned, and released after a video surfaced of him addressing some marshals, a group that has been outlawed and banned from operating in Sierra Leone. This was during the run-up to the World 156 collar by election. Similarly, Madam Femi Claudius Cole was seen in the company of several women preparing placards, rehearsing songs, and issuing out threats against the police and military if they disallowed their unauthorized July 4 planned demonstrations. Despite all of this, the management of the SLP had agreed on the following: 1. To caution and unconditionally release all protesters arrested on Monday, July 4, as they are considered to be first-time offenders. This is already achieved. And 2. To also release Madam Femi Claudius Cole and Dr. Dennis Bright, but they should be warned to be reporting at CID headquarters until otherwise exceeded or any other determination that could be made. Everyone is therefore encouraged to be law-abiding, peaceful, and to go about his or her normal lawful business. Be assured that the Salon Police will continue to serve you better. Signed by the Media and Public Relations Department, Salon Police Headquarters.
Oh, thank you very much. I think that was very clear. In fact, the man of gets nothing in what really talk. Meaning that I just want to express how clear it was. And we'll go further. We have updates from some of our colleagues in the provinces. CID is not here. We call West. 1 minute. Yes, I'll call you. We call West is not here. We call Freetown East is not here. Update from the provinces. Bo, Kenema.
Yes. Director of Operations, Media One, Deputy Media 1 or Media 2, police personnel present over there, journalists, pressmen, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Sub-Inspector Brian James Musa, and I am reporting from the eastern part of Sierra Leone. The general security situation across the region remains relatively calm and quiet, and it is under low security threats. There are security patrols at the border crossing points leading to Liberia and Guinea respectively. The security sector and other agents are still monitoring Yenga and other crossing points. The police in the eastern region enforced Operation Broken Arrow. Following the audio text and video messages that we are making the rounds on social media, in which demonstrations were being planned for the 4th July 2022 by an unknown or unregistered group that calls itself the National Women's Winning Sierra Leone, NWW/SF. The Sierra Leone police in the eastern region informed the general public that no permit was granted to any person or group of persons to organize or hold any form of demonstration in the 2022.
Okay. If you say the talk.
In view of the above, the Sierra Leone police in the eastern Broken Arrow dated 3rd July 2022 to ensure that police presence were maintained at all strategic locations and patrols were carried out 24/7 in the region, and all checkpoints were maintained, particularly during the hours. Fortunately, the said demonstration did not materialize in Kenema and the region across. The other point that took up business. Following the proclamation of the fuel prices by the government from 18,000 to 22 new leons, petrol dealers have gradually started opening their fuel stations to the general public for business in Kenema. Though it is not on full scale as it had to be in the past, but now queue has decreased in the various stations and substations are open to the public. Routine patrol activities within the region are ongoing unabated, and otherwise, Kenema and the eastern region remain relatively calm. Thank you for your unavoided attention. DJ Musa, Kenema.
Thank you very much, Musa.
Very good report, sir.
And yes, for those of you who do not know, for whatever operations we do, we give them names. This one, we had to give a code name, Operation Broken Arrow. Yes, and that is a generic operation order that was circulated across the country. I know you'll be asking why Broken Arrow. It's a code name for the operation that was geared towards curbing the demonstration that happened on the 4th of June. This is July, yeah? Yes. July. So, can we go to Northwest?
Yes, good evening, Director of Operations, Media 1, members of the 4th SD. I am Chief Inspector Paul Hassan Toure, reporting from Northwest. The general security situation within the Northwest region is relatively quiet and normal. Joint security border patrols with our Guinean counterparts continues on a daily basis along the Cambia and Pamalat axis. Security personnel across the Northwest region were able to proactively engage and prevent women and transport workers from staging any form of protest within the Northwest region. Those who attempted in Lungi were swiftly dispersed and 2 women were arrested and charged to court yesterday. Puloko Division. On Wednesday, the 29th June 2022, one Adam Asafa Banzura of number 156 Freetown Road, Puloko, reported that a group of unidentified armed robbers broke into her shop room and stole therein a bag of flour and the sum of 20 million bills, and released one gunshot, thereby putting him into fear. Kambia Division. On Tuesday, the 5th June 2022, at 18:30 hours, one Hada Kamara of Goberi, Kambia 2 checkpoints, accompanied by one police woman of the address, reported at the Kambia police station on the same date, about 1700 hours, in a swamp back of Moria Hotel, Kambia 2 checkpoint. He discovered her 22-year-old son, Amidu Kabu, alias Kabo, lying dead, suspected to have been beaten to death by a group of people led by one ABS Kamara, who is presently at large, and his wife, Ura Samuela Kamara, who is in police custody now. Upon receipt of the report, a team of detectives led by the LUC Kambia visited the scene of crime, where they met the victim lying on his back in a pool of mud water, completely naked. Photographs were taken before his body was conveyed to the Kambia mortuary for autopsy. The 3 suspects are in custody, that is, Mr. Mustafa Jalok, Abdullah Sama, and Dora Samuela Kamara, who is the wife of Mr. ABS. All of them are in the same address. Immediately after the autopsy was conducted and the corpse handed over to the bereaved family for burial that this afternoon, the relatives of the deceased and sympathizers attempted to abandon the corpse at the Kambia police station as they were desperately insulting the security personnel. But they were pacified by the LUC Kambia CSP Abubakar Nagona. Shortly after they had collected the corpse from the station, they went directly to those suspects that were arrested earlier in connection to the demise of the victim, Amidu Kabo, and started burning down their house. But the police swiftly went there to halt the fire. 5 suspects so far have been arrested in connection to the accident. They are Alikali Bangura, Usman Ponte, Alusen Ture, Abubakar Ponte, Tadi Sankon, and Babi Kamara, all of Robere town. Presently, the situation is quiet. Police have been able to quiet down the rioters, and then these 5 suspects are in police custody, including the 3 that were arrested for the alleged murder, are all in police custody in Kambia. In Losa Division, following a flash report of aggravated robbery in Losa, one Usman Kamara, alias Fabulous, was on Tuesday, the 5th July 2022, arrested on warrant of arrest as it was instituted for him and his colleagues. Upon his arrest and interrogation conducted, he informed the police that his colleagues in Poloko are in possession of certain weapons they do operate with. However, at 04:30 hours this early morning of Wednesday, 6th July 2022, a team of police officers led by the LUC Losa, CSP Murana E. Kamara, left for Poloko together with the arrested suspects, who led the officials to direct them to various residents of his colleagues in Poloko, and eventually arrested Joseph Kamara, alias Ice, together with his fiancée Mariama Blanco at Kamaranka. Together with his fiancée Mariama Blanco at Kamaranka, whom the earlier suspects alleged to own the gun. By Kamara also was arrested alias Effort, who also he was also arrested with his fiancée Hada Bangura at the same Kamaraka area. Then he led the officers to Ibrahim Kuruma alias Tabon at Kambia Road, where he showed the officers where he kept the guns in a backpack bag under his bed. The two guns discovered were AK-47 rifles marked with serial number 13632934 with 13 live rounds, and the one was marked MP18 by 9 MP18 9 by 19 millimeter with serial number SL/SLP 14/13501813 having one live round. The weapons are with the armorer in Losar Division. Investigation is in progress. Otherwise, no serious reports for the Northwest region. I am Paul Hassan today from Northwest.
Thank you, Paul. Those reports are very serious. Aggravated robberies, and what I'm happy about is the discovery of 2 weapons. I know that is a very good policing practice, and you need to be commended. Please tell Morana, say hi, congratulate them all from me, and especially the investigators who had to get out those information for Mr. Morana to act on. That is good practice. Thank you very much. Without much ado, I think we'll come to you now. We'll give you the microphone to talk to us. Do you have questions? That will be coordinated by Media One. Thank you.
Any question?
Yeah, the first person at the
good afternoon. Claude Atero, What's Freedom Television Network. During the
FTN?
Yes, sir.
Still there?
Still there. Still fighting. Quite sure. Right. During the arrest of Madam Femi School and Dennis Bryant, I went there at the CID, and the head of CID gave me the permission to visit them. Whilst we were there, I think there was a warrant for arms and ammunition at the office of Madam Femi School. Was there anything like that discovered in that premise? Sir?
Excuse me, before you pass it on, did you say the warrant was for arms and ammunition, or was it a search warrant? I want you to just make that clear to us. Okay, let me also teach one policing practice. For arms and ammunition, we don't need a warrant. We go there by force. Say they will take warrant, they bring camp for 100 people.
Then the officer.
They will run away. So we don't need a warrant for arms and ammunition. We will just broke. Right?
Yeah,
Yes, but this one is a search warrant. Search warrant, they will enter. You don't enter somebody's house without permission of the law. You have to be given permission. I think the search warrant is a permission. Yes, thank you.
Police officers stress that they are looking for arms and ammunition.
Yes, they are going to search the house. Thank you.
Did they got anything like that, sir? That's all my question.
We will answer you later.
Sir.
Thank you.
Isaac Inisa Kamara, mind from newspaper. They told us that members from respective parties went to your office to ask for permission for the demonstration, which people denied them because of the situation we are in. I would like to know which situation the country is in that protesters or demonstrators should not be given chance now to demonstrate. Second question.
Take the mic off your mouth. So I will hear you.
Let's talk about because
They went to you for permission. you told them not to go ahead with a planned demonstration
Yes.
because of the situation we are in.
No, I did not say situation. You saw the queues. The queues at the filling station. All over there were queues. And there was a possibility of people hijacking the demonstration.
Okay.
As it was hijacked already, yes.
Okay, now the other one.
Yeah.
In constituency 5-6, there was a retired army officer who was detained before this time, and up to this date, we have letted her his release was being charged to court, and you give us any update on that.
Who they call you? You get the power. You can take the power. I think that you use focus to power. You said it can be clear. Now put the people on the back.
Yes, Khadija.
Thank you.
Mrs. Jallo.
Oh, Mrs. Tarawala. Mijalo. Yes. Am I permitted to ask 3 questions?
No. Any question?
You can start.
Okay. I am Khadija Tarawali, Mijalo, and I report for Sky Radio Freetown. So my first question is, as per what the director said, when starting the press conference, that they discuss with some political, with Dennis Bright, Femi Claudius School and others, that they want to stage a peaceful protest. So I want to know if that protest was written, or was it just verbal, that you just discussed it upon. And then secondly, this is not the first time police is claiming that because of 1 or 2 reasons, they are not giving police clearance to some certain organizations or people to stage a peaceful protest. I can recall with the Lincoln Queen University saga, clearance was not given. So now we all know that it's only when the people are dissatisfied that we tend to stage a protest or a peaceful protest. So don't you think that if the police is looking at that, then there will never, ever be a police clearance being given to people who want to stage a peaceful protest? Because we all know that there will be goons at every given time in the country. It's not like they are going away. And then thirdly, but not the least, I want to know to what extent did Femi Claudius incite the protesters or the people of this country? Thank you.
A bit part of the protest. Now, Misa. It was part of the protest. Now, Misa for arrest her. This is the university.
I need to give her wait.
Yes, my name is Aydunga, and yesterday I was in Parliament where supporters of political parties were alleged to have one of the MPs, APC MPs. Of course, we saw the pictures and videos all over the place, and the pictures saying some guys are holding knives and other dangerous weapons, and police were there watching at them. We just want to know if there was any arrest made so far as a result of the riots that ensued yesterday. Thank you.
I was really dumbfounded when you released these people today. Then I heard the Northwest guy saying that Kenema, the judge of this.
That was yesterday.
No,
The release was today.
no, well, actually, it's as if there was no information. You guys are going to see, these guys are saying this. So I want to know, actually, is information, sir?
No, it's not misinformation or whatever you call it.
You know, we have time limits to keep somebody in custody. If you read section 17, subsection 3A and B of the Constitution, one is for 10 days, the other one is for 72 hours. So sometimes if you complete the investigation before 72 hours, you can charge. So it's like they were unfortunate. Their investigation, they are just two. It was completed before 72 hours. Understand? So they were charged. And today, magnanimity comes in. But already they are already got to court. So it's not like misinformation.
No, I like that. I like that. Yes, please.
Yes, I actually liked the phrase the one used in the meeting, and also it was clear that those people released today were released on the basis as first-time offenders. Clearly tells us that they did something against the law according to section 17 of the Public Order Act. Again, it's clearly stated that those who went to see their friend at OSD headquarters were also arrested. And again, we understand that they were first-time offenders, but equity did not showcase to them. We want to know why. Are they different from these set of people? That is one. Two, it is clear that chapter 3 of our Constitution, subsection 15, tells us of the human rights aspect. And when it comes to human rights, police are expected to uphold that particular tool. And over the years, Sierra Leone police has always been at the forefront upholding that particular thing. But when it comes to this particular one, we understand that the country was not in a good footing. People were accused, but again, the economic situation was what Femi School explained on her Facebook page live, that the protest, according to her, was initially for the economic situation. We wanted somebody to speak to them. And that particular person was not clear who that person was. Again, what we understand from people around Freetown that it was because of the text messages or whatever police policy people not to go out, made people not to go all about. But my question now is that, is it that the people are losing faith in Sierra Leone police? People are losing faith in you, that Sierra Leone police are no more, from what we understand. We are media people, we get information from people, we talk to the people directly, more than the way the Sierra Leone police school. The faith is there. My last question now goes to the issue of 72 hours. Today is exactly Wednesday. I'm starting to be corrected. Yes. And the same constitution in the one quoted for us is very clear at 72 hours. The magnanimity you said about that was given to these people. How could they charge them so fast, and they could not charge these people again so fast? The number. The number of persons they are above 40. Yes. And they were just 2. That's 2. Yes. But so the number, sometimes. Anyways, thank you. So the number. So they are above 40. But let me, sorry, before you come.
I'm pleased you made reference to section 15. Clear. But also go and read section 13.
Yes, but other people there.
Right? So when you look at one side, look at the other side. Go in section 13. It tells you about your responsibility, his responsibility, and your responsibility as citizens to this state. So whenever you talk about rights, you talk about what? Responsibilities. And this is where the problem is. We always talk about human rights. But we don't talk about our responsibility to the state and to even the next man. So this is where the problem is. They say you can protest as the case may be. But the law says if you want to do this first. And the problem is
Anyway, please, before you just leave, this reporter from the local, I just want to reiterate the lawlessness in this country. The suspect house is burnt down. They're burning. Look at. They are where the suspects they kill the man in a Cambia. Burning house down. Look at.
They're not even found guilty.
Not found guilty. They don't sentence and all. Anyway, thank you very much. You again? Okay, go ahead. When you finish.
Okay, I'll call you.
Member Kari, go ahead.
Okay, simple. Just want to know how many people were arrested nationwide, how many were charged to court, and how many were nationwide.
I mean, it's no. Well, after Sekowa.
I think he will give you the number, but we intend giving blanket amnesty to all of them. Even those that are charged. We will ask the police in those areas to ensure that those charges are withdrawn and that they should be released. We will do that for them as quickly as possible. Let me just come to somebody that was very critical about the equity of the law. You know, riots, forced conduct, and demonstrations are two different things. Those who were at the OSD headquarters misbehaved. You know, just good enough so. I don't know whether they talk the language. They say, yes, a master, no, they check close. Good enough, no more so. What's in camp? He go look you to, you know, we will arrest you. The person will not be able to arrest you because for what reason would they arrest you? You come, yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. I got to understand. My friend is detained in this station. Can I talk to him? Will anybody arrest you? Will anybody arrest you? No. You know, but if you go there and misbehaved in a riotous manner, that is not a first offender issue. That is a breach of the peace of this nation. It's a breach of the peace of this nation. You have even terrified the people in that particular environment, and therefore such people, therefore charge them. Do you know why do we have lawlessness? Street trading did not start one day in this town. When we came, it was only that small place, Adenkode, Abacha. That was the only street trading. So nobody did anything. Akibo Betts was doing a lot of things. In fact, he was going there on his own. And we were following him when we were constables to go and arrest. And today, because nothing is done to those people, the whole of Wilberforce Street, one of in fact, my best street in this town, PZ and where they don't build Usmidu the street. Nobody not talk. They look at the place. You know? And this is what that is continuing. We have helped lawlessness so much in this country. But what has started happening? You know, say if I do this and they go 3 years jail, you go say to you what? Say, sorry sir, can I talk to my friend that is in custody? My friend there was saying when Femi and Dr. Bright were incarcerated, he went there and was allowed to talk to them. Did you say so? My friend from the television. He said, because he was not violent, he went there in a very peaceful manner. Search warrant executed at Femi's house, yes. When you are doing anything, like those people, we were charging, looking at them for incitement, planning on unlawful assembly, unlawful demonstrations, etc. What do you want? You want to see, did they prepare for it? Did they plan for it? do they have how do I call it WhatsApp messages? Did they circulate them? Do they have Facebook messages that were circulated? Do they have placards? ABC? These are the things you are looking for in the house. And if you get all of those evidences, then you should be able to prosecute. But if you say no more, this man, I'm going to arrest you for incitement, you have to produce the evidence. Either what you said or what you did that's correlated into that offense. So, my friend, we did not see anyone, yeah? The CID will come here next week and we will ask them to tell you what they found. I was not part of that group, and we don't want to stake our neck. Request for permission to process murder. What we know, you don't know. The intelligence we get for across this country, every 24 hours I get intelligence from everywhere, including all offenses that were committed yesterday. I know all across this country. So what we know, you may not know. Yours is to process. Ours is to ensure that there is tranquility, peace, and citizens' rights are maintained. That is what we stand for. So if we refuse you, we'll give you the reasons. And for those people who wanted to process on that day, we told them the reasons. That the queues are all over. The people are all, charged slightly. And then, what's the Creole man, they say, would you put salt to injury? That's what they say, I don't really know that one. You know? If you now even allow 5 people to process, everybody will now join and say, hey. And the next thing, do you know what we had? I will tell you the things that happened. That people were coming out to burn all filling stations in this town. And when they come out, they are going to burn the filling stations in this town. That was what we had. And that people were planning. I could remember there was one that was sent to the CDS. I think I know him as CC, but that was the day I said, he wrote himself, Sule, until I don't call you how many times. Say, Fotel, I know you village, I know you people there. That day, if you put any soldier man on the street, will they kill all of you people there and will they fed the soldier man there? That one was very clear incitement. Clear threats issued. And that one is being investigated. Well, we see that should be investigated by cyber to be able to identify that person. Do you know why people did not send their children to school on that day? Because they believe in the threats. They believe, say, when keke come out, they burn the keke. When Honda come out, they go burn them. Because the people who bought those motorcycles and those keke will not allow their kekes to be burned. Because they know how much they used. Some of you have them. Some people here have motorcycles. So, you will not know that they have. When you arrest a motorcycle and they cannot call and say, I'm a brother and I get out. You see? So, what I'm saying is we know more than you know, and therefore we'll only allow demonstrations that we believe are going to be very peaceful, that do not have the propensity of causing any mischief in this country, or one that will lead to serious disorder, violations of the public order. That thing, that what happened on Monday, if it is costed, I know one thing we don't do in this country, we don't do cost-benefit analysis. If we cost the money we lost that day, the one day they can cook room and the money they we don't well that day, people that did not come to sell, how much they would have made on that day and how much they lost on that day, it is enormous. All the teachers they wouldn't be paid that day for natty, where they don't eat that money for natty, then constantly. Let me say every teacher now even 10,000. Think about how many teachers are in Freetown and then take them 10,000 and spread them. We lost a lot of money on that day, and we should not afford to be losing. So I want to answer all of your questions by some of these things that I'm given here. Say police they only give clearance. We give clearance, as I told you, based on the intelligence that follows on some of those requests. If we believe that if people want to protest, I don't know those of you that have gone to the United Nations, there are specified areas in the Macan, like half of this room, where you stand behind bars, within that particular secluded area. You can talk anything. If people can agree to do that, we go ask. We make a tuga or parade or anywhere. I didn't call that this place now, Sewa ground. We'll take you there. You protest there. Do you have to walk through the streets of Freetown to vent your views? No. If you see number one, I'm trying to look for it here. Number one, the the rise in fuel prices was number one of the allegation of the how do I call it? The protesters' request. Those are some of the things they were going to, because that is the only thing that will attract everybody. Or the soaring rise and cost in prices of commodities in this country. Those are the things that will attract people. And they were not the few, number one, number two, number three. So, but if you would want to do it in a secluded area, where people will come and listen to you, take photos, all of the journalists in this country go to Sewa ground and people protest, I think in fact, we will just allow any protest where you're ready, you go there. Only that we'll search you so that you will not carry knives and other things there. And after you have finished protesting, we'll give you 1 hour or 2 hours. We stand, when you finish, you disperse. I think that will be good. But if we are only to be traversing the streets of this country, meaning we are destroying the livelihoods of some people, then Kukui people. We went to this place to recall Freetown West Alongly. We wanted to buy food for our police officers. No Kukui, no one. Nobody, no Komonago. So those are some of the things I've been talking about. I don't want to talk about Parliament yesterday. I would ask kindly that we respond, and Mr. Jallo, how do I call it, Lieutenant Colonel, retired Jallo, why the status of his case. I don't want to comment because we don't have the details as I stand. The CID could have been here to give us those details. And number two, why were those people I've just told you arrested, and those that now arrested here are given? Because these people, when they were coming out, the differences are there, very clear. The Parliament MP that was hot, pictures with people holding dangerous weapons. I cannot comment on that. I will give it to the media people. Probably they were, because I did not see any of these videos. I'm trying to get them today to see what happened in Parliament. What happened in Parliament yesterday on two separate occasions. We were informed that people in the well of Parliament were quarreling. We had a police there, we helped them with some police officers and sent a very senior police officer. So I wanted to go, somebody told me, hey, Danny, don't go. He left. I said, okay. We went, we saw the clerk of Parliament and the other people, and it was agreed that everything was solved and that they will continue the deliberations. We now left the same like Kingo because later on, late in the evening, we had another information that there was some quarreling within the well of Parliament. We now sent police officers, very senior police officers, who went there reported back that the whole place is now quiet and that people have started leaving. The details of that, I will bring the LUC of Parliament by next press brief to come here and give us details on actually what's happened. But there was something I had, and I want to tell you that the police has been officially invited. I had somebody saying, we want policemen enough for come inside Parliament for men to protect you. But before now, when you go into Parliament, say you are not allowed. You don't allow police officers in Parliament. No, you are a foreigner in that place. It is they that won elections that are the citizens in that place. But it appears we are now invited. We'll go there now no, we are no longer strangers. If you are invited, I invite you to. You invite me to into your house. Yeah, we could be there until sanity is restored. You know, I will stop so far. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yes.
And this is where we bring the curtain down. We cannot spend the whole day here. Thank you for coming, and we hope to see you next week. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.